guys, David from Redneck Garage. It is almost midnight and I am out running calls. You believe it? I'm still working at this time of night. Trying to make that money so I can buy more crap for the Jeep. I thought I'd do a little intro for the next video series that I'm doing, and that is on either a 1-inch lift kit or 2-inch lift body lift kit or just a bushing replacement on these Jeep YJs. What I found is the engineering on them is so poor as far as the way the bolts go in and the holes that they go in that it's going to rust out. There's just no way around it. I can't see. They almost put it in a pocket of crap. So anyway, today I spent most of the day putting one side on and I got it completed, but it was a challenging day because I had to run back and forth to get bolts. I had to run back and forth to get longer bolts because I remembered the Nerf bar had to be put on. So here's the video beginning on that series. I got one side done, and then we're going to start on the second side. Okay, so that's the urethane new body mounts. Those are the ones we're going to be installing. So here's the kind of crap I'm dealing with. This is the rear mounting bolt in the back, and you can tell from this bolt it's just rusted out. Look how thin that metal is right in the center. And I'd been putting penetrating oil on it, but obviously that didn't help. I just tried to move it back and forth a little bit and it snapped right off. This is some more crap that was just up there where my hand is. I'm going to have to cut a hole in the tub at the top to get to that. I don't know, this is just frustrating. Anyway, either I'm going to get them out or break them, and then I can maybe lift it up, and that might make it easier to get the bolts out. What's left of them. Okay, so in the tub, I went ahead and cut slots for these two. This one and that one, and these are actually the best ones out of all of them. That's probably, but they're up by the gas tank, so I just said screw it, I'm going to cut slots in it. So basically, you got your two in the rear, you got those two that broke off, two more in front of that, two in front of that, and then one in the center. So you got a total of 11 body bolts that hold this thing on the tub. And I'm going to be concentrating on the right side first. This one's broken in the back, that one's broken. I'm probably going to leave the one in the very center front one still attached, get this one out, and I should be able to jack this side up enough to maybe work on those other. But we're going to go get some new drill bits instead of some of the cheaper ones I'll be using, that after 2 seconds they're gone. That's what we're going to do with that. Okay, I left the front mount attached in the very front center, which I think we're okay. I'm going to look at that in a second. But I've got my porta power underneath it, and I've lifted the frame up, and you can see that it is lifted off the frame, hopefully far enough to get some bolts up in it and the new bushings. I've got to get this one out, drilled out, and the rear one. So I'll probably put a block or something underneath in certain spots so it doesn't fall on my hands or some crap like that. But that's where I'm at right now with this. But the porta power does a great job. This thing is a very versatile tool to be used. So this thing is a big piece of crap, but I did get the rubber out from the bottom, and that's the part of the bushing, and then there's our bolt. And actually it looks like the whole thing's going to just come on out, so let me look at it from the top. I might as well just cut this out and use some washers in there at this point. Alright, so I had to cut a slot on this rear body bolt. I was trying to drill through it and notice it was moving around, so basically that's what holds in your rear. So once you cut your slotted hole in there, you can pretty much reach up in there and put a new nut on it and tighten that down. So that's cool. Got that one done. So all the bolts are off on the front end. I'm going to go ahead and clean up all the mounts where the mounts go in, and use some of my rust inhibiting frame paint on all the mounts before I put them back on. Okay, while I had everything off, I already got dirt in it. I went ahead and painted the frame, painted all the mounting bolts. That is a frame saver paint, which is a rust inhibitor. So I'm hoping that might slow it down a little bit. But if you're going to paint your frame, now's the time to do it when you have your bolts out, because you can actually get to the gap in there. Now if you put a 1-inch or 2-inch body lift on it, then no big deal. But it does look a lot better, and hopefully I wire brushed it, got everything cleaned up. I got to go to an eye doctor and get me some new glasses. How exciting is that? But I'm going to let that dry for a little bit, and then I will be back to finish. This is downtown Franklin, 5 Points. One of the main intersections. There's a square up the street. One thing Franklin does not have that I wish they did is parking! Went to drop off a package and they're doing construction on the post office. And I mean, I had to park a mile away. Down at Bobby's Automotive, right here in Franklin, Tennessee. Alright, so the frame looks really good. And I've got some new bolts, more new bolts, to test fit up the Nerf bars. So that's what I'm going to work on real quick right now. I can't believe that I even thought of that, because otherwise I'd be kicking myself later down the road after I've welded everything back up going, how do I mount these Nerf bars? So that was luck. That's not brilliance, that's luck, I'm telling you. Sometimes a redneck gets a bone. Alright, so there is the Nerf bar. Sun's starting to go down. That's the Nerf bar test fit on there, and it looks good. It was some fabricating on those brackets that mount to the bottom. That was a pain in the rump. There was 2 of them, and I had to cut them and adjust them and to fit for the Nerf bar. But on the inside, where I drilled the hole, I cut a little bar of metal, drilled a 1/2-inch hole in it, and went all the way across like the original was where we pulled it out. That just needs cinching up. Alright, so that's it, end of day 1 on the body lift. It was interesting to say the least, as far as the rusted bolts and the way you had to get them out. That was a pain in the rear. Got all the new bolts in. Everything fit fairly well. The Nerf bar is going to take a little bit of adjustments on those brackets to get it to line up just right to get the bolts in. But you know what do you expect from Engineer Johnny? They made those Nerf bars for 50 cents and sent them over here. But I think they look good. So the next time I work on the Jeep is going to be finishing up the body lift on that side. I just ordered a new Hutchkins air file, because when we start doing the body work, it's a long lot of flat surfaces that I need to sand, and my Harbor Freight piece of crap air file just isn't going to cut it. So I mean, these things are about 300 bucks. But as I'm going to show you why it's worth it to spend a little bit extra to get a tool like that when we're doing the body work on it. I'm David from Redneck Garage. Keep turning some wrenches.